Hey everyone, if you're a fan of Journey to the West, then you have absolutely come to the right place. So go on and hit that subscribe button because you are not going to want to miss a single one of these adventures.
All right, let's jump right in, because today we've got one of the most famous, most chaotic stories of all time. We are talking about the day Sun Wukong decided to wreak absolute havoc in the Celestial Palace.
So picture this. Our hero, Sun Wukong, now has this super cool title, the Great Sage Equaling Heaven. And honestly, he's living the high life. He's not collecting a salary or anything. He's just hanging out, making friends with all the gods, zipping around on his cloud, seeing the sights. He was carefree, happy, and maybe, just maybe, getting a little bit bored. And as we all know, a bored monkey king is a recipe for trouble.
Well, it didn't take long for one of the Jade Emperor's advisors to notice this. He went to the Emperor and said, "Your Majesty, that's Sun Wukong. He's got way too much time on his hands. And an idle sage is a troublemaking sage. We have got to give him a job to keep him busy."
And you know what? The Jade Emperor thought that was a brilliant idea. So he called Wukong over and gave him his new official duty. He was now the manager of the Garden of Immortal Peaches. Now, this job sounded super important, and Wukong was totally thrilled to be given such a huge responsibility.
But listen, these were not your average everyday peaches. Oh no, this garden held some of the biggest treasures in all of heaven. You had peaches that took 3,000 years to ripen. Eat one of those, and poof, you're an immortal. Then there were the 6,000-year peaches, which gave you eternal life. And then, the ultimate prize, the 9,000-year peaches. One bite of those and you could live as long as heaven and earth itself. Kind of the worst place to put a mischievous monkey, don't you think?
And for a little while, Wukong was actually a pretty good guard. He patrolled every day, took his job seriously, but then he noticed it. All those gorgeous, glowing, magical peaches were finally ripe, and the temptation was just way too much for him to handle.
He just had to try one, so he pulls a clever little trick, tells the other guards he's going to go take a nap and that they should wait outside. The second they were gone, he shimmied right up the biggest tree, found the juiciest, most powerful peaches, and just ate his absolute fill.
Okay, so while all this is happening, the Queen Mother of Heaven is getting ready for the party of the year. It's the legendary Peach Banquet, and literally every important god and immortal is invited. So naturally, she sends 7 fairies to the garden to go pick the best peaches for her guests.
So the fairies show up, right? And they're looking around like, where's this great sage guy? As they start picking peaches, they pull down a branch and, whoops, they wake someone up. And who is it? Sun Wukong. Turns out he'd shrunk himself down to the size of a tiny little peach to take a nap in the leaves.
Wukong, startled, zaps back to his normal size and wants to know what in the world is going on. The fairies explain they're getting fruit for the Queen Mother's big party. And you can just imagine Wukong's ears perking up. A giant party with all the best food and wine in heaven? He had to go. So he just casually asks them,
You could just feel the awkwardness. The fairies nervously look at their list and have to break the bad news. His name, it's not on there. The Great Sage Equaling Heaven was not invited. And just like that, snap. All that excitement, gone. Replaced with pure white-hot rage. Furious doesn't even begin to cover it. Not invited, he seethed. And without wasting another second, he whispered a spell, pointed a finger, and bam! The 7 fairies were frozen solid, right where they stood. They were stuck like statues. Now there was nothing and no one to stop him from finding out what was going on.
So, with the fairies stuck like garden gnomes, Wukong hopped on his cloud and zipped straight for the banquet hall at the Jade Pond. Invited or not, he was going to that party, and heaven had no idea what was about to hit it.
And folks, this is where things go completely off the rails. First, he bumps into an immortal, tricks him into going the wrong way, and steals his identity to get in. He gets to the party before anyone else and sees these tables just loaded with incredible food, so he eats it all. Then he finds the immortal wine and drinks all of that too. Finally, completely drunk, he stumbles into the palace of the great sage Laozi, finds his priceless golden pills of immortality, and gobbles them all down like they were peanuts.
Well, those pills were so powerful, they immediately sobered him up. And that's when it hit him. The full reality of what he'd done. He stole the peaches, crashed the banquet, ate all the food, drank the wine, and swallowed Laozi's entire life's work. The trouble he was in was, as he put it, bigger than the sky. There was only one thing to do: get out of there. Fast.
He used a little invisibility magic, snuck right out of the heavenly palace, and flew as fast as his cloud could carry him all the way back home to his kingdom on Flower Fruit Mountain, back to where he was king of the monkeys.
When he got there, all his monkeys were ecstatic, but also kind of confused. "Great king," they said, "you've been gone for over 100 years." Wukong couldn't believe it. For him, it had only been about half a year. And this is where he learned something wild about how the universe works. Time in heaven moves way, way differently. Just one day up there is a whole year down on Earth.
Meanwhile, back up in heaven, it was pure chaos. The fairies finally unfroze, the party staff woke up, Loudzy discovered his empty pill gourds, everyone ran to the Jade Emperor, and it didn't take long to put the pieces together. The Emperor was beyond furious. He knew exactly who was to blame.
The Jade Emperor wasn't messing around. He wasn't just sending a small squad to arrest Wukong. Oh no, he assembled a massive, overwhelming celestial army to go down to Earth and capture that rebel monkey. How massive, you ask? 100,000 soldiers.
So let's just paint a picture here, because the stage is set for a truly epic battle. On one side, you have the full might of heaven, 100,000 elite soldiers, their greatest generals, and magical weapons like nets that could cover the entire sky. And on the other side, you've got Sun Wukong, his army of monkeys, a couple of his demon king buddies, and one single weapon, his trusty golden cudgel.
The battle begins, and first up to challenge Wukong is a group of gods known as the 9 Luminaries. Wukong basically yawns. He just swings his staff in this incredible whirlwind, and before you know it, he's beaten all 9 of them senseless. They go running back to their commander with their tails between their legs.
Okay, so seeing their opening act get crushed so easily, the Jade Emperor sends in the heavy hitters. We're talking the 4 heavenly kings and the powerful Prince Nezha. They move in and completely surround Sun Wukong. It looks like he's totally trapped, with nowhere to run. But you should never, ever count Wukong out. He just grins, plucks a few hairs from his arm, chews them up, and spits them out, shouting, "Change!" And in an instant, every single one of those hairs transforms into a perfect copy of Sun Wukong, each one armed with its own golden cudgel. Suddenly, the battlefield is flooded with an entire army of monkey kings, and they just completely steamroll the celestial generals.
So Wukong pulls off this incredible, stunning victory, beating back some of heaven's best warriors. But this was just the first fight. As the sun sets that massive heavenly army, they're not leaving. They set up camp right at the bottom of Flower Fruit Mountain, 100,000 strong, just getting ready for their next attack. So the big question we're left with is, Wukong may have won the battle, but can he possibly win the war?
And that is where we have to leave it for today. We'll find out what happens next time. If you had fun with our story, please do subscribe and hit that little bell so you don't miss out. We love reading your comments. Seriously, your encouragement is what keeps us going and telling more of these amazing tales. Thanks for hanging out with us.